Welcome to Pera's Playbook. This is your host, Alex Pera. Let's open up our playbook and see who our guest is. Please enjoy. Welcome to episode 125 of Pera's Playbook. Today I'm joined by Kate Dennis. She plays Division I women's basketball at Ohio. So, Kate, appreciate you hopping on the podcast. How are you?
Absolutely. Great, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a perfect time to do a podcast like this. Basketball is just getting started. We're kind of getting into the swing of teams. Most teams have played at least a handful of games now. That long wait is over and everybody's season is rolling. So why don't we start by kind of just talking about this season a little bit? I know you guys played a really tough opponent here recently. You guys played Ohio State. They're a very
Mhm.
highly ranked team, and I know the game didn't go, I'm sure, as you guys would have hoped, but that doesn't mean you can't take a lot out of a game like that, playing a team of that caliber. So
Yeah.
where do you think your team's at right now? Kind of like what's the vibe and like what's your coach kind of sending down as a message?
Yeah, absolutely. This season, like you said, is underway. We've had a few games under our belt now. I think that we've played 4 games. We just did play Ohio State. Um, yeah, there's a lot of early in the season, there's a lot of things that you can learn. I think it's important to stay level-headed and not get frustrated with things that don't go well, particularly off the bat. That's a message that our coach has been sending. Absolutely, coming in and watching film, um, just really having and being intentional with things that we're fixing, because it's so early in the season. We don't want people to be getting frustrated and um, the excitement to be there and to come in. We need to have that every day because it's so early in the season. So I think that a lot of things we're just learning and figuring out right now. We have a mostly experienced team this year. We have two freshmen, and a sophomore walk on, as well as two grad transfers. And everybody else was returning from last year. So we have a lot of familiar faces. I think everybody's feeling very comfortable now, in the school and in the system. So I think it's just some of them learning how to play college basketball and dealing with injuries. Of course, that's something that a lot of teams go through. We've had our fair share of that already. So just learning to play together, to take everything as a learning lesson, even the losses. So it's been good. I'm looking forward to the year ahead for us. So
Right, I mean the beginning of the year, it's you really can't judge a team by like at least their first five, maybe six, 7 games, because everybody's still trying to kind of figure out who are we this year, what's our identity? Because you can have an identity one year and then like you've got a new team, even if you had a lot of same familiar faces and you got a couple transfers, like you said, there's still enough change where you've got to kind of figure out what's going to work for us this year, what's not going to work. And I mean, you learn a lot of those when you play a really tough opponent like Ohio State. I mean,
mm-hmm.
there's so much you can take out of a game against a high caliber opponent, and then like build on that the rest of the year. So like in one respect, you don't want to play those teams early because you're still trying to figure out what's going on. But in the other respect, it does help set you up like, okay, we're gonna play this team. By the time we get to our conference schedule, we'll know what we want to be and we'll have everything figured out.
Absolutely. And our coach has talked about multiple times in practice and when we sit in, for film in the mornings, the team that we will be so much better. We will be a different team in January than we are right now. And like you said, with the first 5 games, I mean, a lot of these teams have new coaches, have a bunch of new players, like an entire new team. Earlier in the season, we played Georgia Southern, and they had a new coach, completely new team. We were just kind of guessing what they were going to be running. So I think that that's something for sure. The first few games are kind of a guess, like based off of what they've done in the past and off the first few games, this is what we think that they might do. but it's never a for sure. So that's always something with the first few games as well. So the more that you get into it, the more you have that like, okay, this is how people are doing this season. This is what they're doing. This is what their tendencies are, things along those lines.
Right. And I mean, the transfer portal throws such a loop into that because
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can look at last year with whoever's still there, but, and you can look at players, from where they transferred from, but, you've got totally new faces, like you mentioned, new coaches. So how do
Mm-hmm.
you scout those teams when they've only played 2 games or, when you're this early in the season? You can't really scout them. By the time you get to
Yeah,
your conference schedule, everyone's played 10 plus games, like, so okay, this is what they've been doing so far.
exactly. Yeah. So I think that, like I had mentioned, it's important to have grace with yourself and with the team because the games that necessarily really matter are when conference play starts. So the rest of it's really just learning and figuring out how to play with each other, playing really great opponents, um, and yeah, getting ready for that conference schedule.
Right. I mean, you want to win every game, but like you
Yeah.
said, the conference schedule is what matters. And that pre-conference, non-conference schedule, it's kind of to prepare you for your
Hmm.
that's where you play those tough you guys still play Georgia and Butler and
Yeah.
a few other, big programs.
Hmm.
So you still got some other games where, you get to go against somebody bigger and now you can take stuff from that Ohio State loss. Okay, this is what didn't work, but now like when we play Georgia, and you're gonna
Hmm.
have more games under your belt. You'll have more of an identity. And I mean, you see it all the time. Teams have not so great non-conference records, and then they tear through their conference schedule. I mean, basketball is a sport. You can go on a 10-game winning streak, 15-game winning streak. I mean, the team is shooting well, you're meshing well, and all of a sudden you've got a tale of two teams in the same season.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I think that, being a fourth year is just something that you realize much more now than you did as a freshman. As a freshman, I think it's easy to be like, oh my gosh, our third loss in a row or whatever. It's like, it's part of the process. It happens sometimes, and it's all about how your mentality going into practice that next day. Like, well, what am I going to actively do to try and fix it instead of kind of like sitting and sulking in that feeling, like, poor me. What can I do to be better? What can we do as a team to overcome this and be better the next time? And we're just gonna try again, and that's the beauty of it is it being so early in the season is you have plenty of opportunities to try and be better, and that's I think what you need to look at it like.
Yeah, I mean the mental side of sports is so tough too, right? It's so easy to beat yourself up if you have a
Yeah.
bad game, and like I mean, like you mentioned, you know it a little bit better now that you've
Hmm.
been around college hoops enough. But when you're a rookie, you're in your first season, second season, it's hard to know
Hmm.
that. But
Yeah.
even when you're in your fourth year, it's still tough. Like we're all mentally so hard on ourselves, even outside of sports. I mean, every time you screw up, you want to beat yourself up right away. Like it's kind of like
Yeah.
human nature to
Yeah.
be hard on yourself, even though we all need to be a little bit easier on ourselves.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a whole another thing that we could talk about is just the mental side of things. I feel like you could talk about that forever. I mean, oh my gosh, yes, the physical and whatnot, but the mental too of just being a college athlete. It's a different game for sure. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And
it's great.
fans
It's
don't get
great
it.
fun.
And
No,
fans just don't understand.
no, they don't. It's always fun talking to somebody that they're giving their 2 cents or they're talking about their opinions, and then you just have to kind of think of it like, okay, that's their perspective of things. They don't know better than how they're talking, and you know what I mean? Like they can only
Right.
see past such a certain point. Um, so I think that that's something to keep in the back of your mind when talking to people like that. But like I said, that's a totally different thing that you could go down the
Right.
road with. So
Yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole. I mean, just like I don't know. There's always going to be those people that like to coach from their couch and like they
yeah.
think they know everything. I mean,
Hmm.
and a lot of those people, you did they even go to college? Not
Right.
playing a sport. I mean, some people don't
Hmm.
understand how stressful college is for a regular student, let alone throwing in this sport, especially at the Division I level.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much going on. Life is busy as it is. You add it in sports and personal life, and like, I mean, you never know. And I feel like the other thing fans don't get, and I was kind of just talking about this, I think with one of the more recent episodes, it's like everyone has bad games
Mm-hmm.
because people have stuff going on in their personal life, and
Mm-hmm.
fans get all they get all worked up like the person sucks, that team sucks, and they all this negativity, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone's gonna have bad games because and you don't know why. I mean, they might be stressed because they got a huge exam on Monday,
Yeah.
or maybe there's something going on in their personal life. They're just having a tired week. I mean, there's gonna be those low points and high points. You can't expect athletes to go out there and score 30 points a game every game. Like it's just not gonna happen.
Exactly, Alex. I mean, I think even watching, football teams on TV, like Big Ten football or, um, you know, SEC basketball, some of these people, and I've told my parents this, like they were here this past week for some of the games that we had. Um, but I was going down the elevator to, head to the game, and I was just kind of talking about like a little bit of the nerves or like some of the things I was feeling. And my mom kind of just was talking to me like, the crazy people that you idolize, like that are at the highest level, like they are, taking a nap before their game, just like you did today. Like, the things that I go through in a day leading up to the game, like everybody does that kind of thing. And the people from the outside don't necessarily understand. But I mean, watching some of the higher levels of the sports, as I think I have a different perspective because I'm in it and I understand like to be that person. Like I had an off day or I wasn't feeling my best and I had, a poor performance. Some people have that and people rip them apart because they're on, a higher platform. I kind of feel for them at that point because it's
Hmm.
like, oh my gosh, that they're getting chewed out and on social media, they're getting blown up. And one of my friends, I lived with a girl who is the wife of Curtis Rourke, who plays quarterback at Indiana. And she used to tell me that Curtis would like get off of social media during the season and, certain things like that. So it makes sense thinking of it from the side that I'm on of that's hard for people, like we are just people. I think sometimes um, outsiders don't necessarily see that. They're like, wow, they're a college athlete, they're a professional athlete. They should be okay. They have all these resources to be fine and da da da. But like, we're also just people. And sometimes we feel things just like everyone else does. So I think it's great that that's being more talked about and more normalized for sure. I try to make it very normal on my team to check in with my teammates and, if you're not okay, that's totally fine. How can I help you? Um, so I think that those are very important relationships to have, and it's an important thing for a person to be is to check in on people, to have that emotional intelligence of, I think they're a little bit off. How can I help you? Kind of thing. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. I mean, just sometimes it's just the simple asking someone how they're doing that helps in itself.
yeah.
And I totally agree. Like, I think it's great to talk about the mental side of sports more. And I try to on the podcast whenever there's a good opportunity for the, handful of listeners I have to kind of spread it. I have different guests that kind of maybe they were a professional athlete and now they motivational speak, and that's kind of their wheelhouse. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's very interesting to dive in and talk about, and try to just kind of spread. It's almost there's so many people that are just ignorant to it. They need to be
Mm-hmm.
educated. I mean, you almost can't blame some of these people because they truly
Yeah.
don't understand, and that's what we
Yeah.
need to change. We need people to understand. When an athlete says they're taking a step back to focus on their mental health, and people rip them apart for being weak and all, like that's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we want. Like
Yeah.
you said, they're just people too. You think everyone's got something going on, and just because you're playing in the NFL doesn't mean you have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Absolutely.
but we are making slow progress there,
Mm,
more than we have in recent years. So that's all positive. It's just got to keep kind of inching towards that.
absolutely. I think it'll happen slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go Hoosiers, Indiana. I
I know, right?
I I really think they're going to beat Ohio State. I am confident they're going to beat. There's a lot of people doubting them when they got hired Kirk Signetti as like this guy, he's on a mission. He did really well at JMU. He's going to go in there, and then Curtis has been playing outstanding. He's most definitely the most underrated quarterback in the entire country. Like, I mean, what he can do, and nobody's really talking about him. Um, he can do a lot, and he's definitely starting to get the spotlight now. But I mean, he's been doing it all year, and people are only talking about it now. So I'm saying it now, even though this episode it's not gonna be posted by that time. But when they win, nobody can say that it didn't say it first here.
Absolutely. I am completely biased because, well, my sister goes to the University of Wisconsin. So I am like Wisconsin, Indiana, like back and forth. I know
Yeah,
everybody that's around me is Ohio State fans, because we are so close in Ohio, but I am like always going back and forth with Indiana and Wisconsin. So I'm cheering for Indiana this weekend though for sure.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's a big game. Have definitely be tuning into that. Cannot
absolutely.
miss it.
Absolutely.
So, what's your favorite sport after basketball?
My favorite sport after basketball, I think that I would say I like to watch a lot of different things outside. I like football. Football season's a lot of fun. I like baseball a lot. Um, and I watch a little bit of hockey too. I'd probably say football is my second one to basketball. I watch so much basketball, so basketball is really like up here, and then it's kind of like football. Still like learning certain things with football, but I would probably say football is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if somebody told you could never ever play basketball again? Like, what sport would you play?
I played tennis for a period of time in high school. That was a lot of fun. I don't know that I would say I was particularly good at it. I think that it was just a little bit of an offshoot thing though. If I really had put a lot of time into it, I probably could have been good, but I guess volleyball. I think that the way that girls are in volleyball is something that I would want to be a part of. And um, because I'm tall, a lot of people would always ask if I played volleyball or basketball, and basketball. So probably volleyball if I didn't play basketball.
Yeah. Tennis is fun. I'm
Hmm.
absolutely brutal at it. I'm
Yeah.
terrible, but it is a lot of fun to just
Yeah.
go play, like walk down to the park and play for a little bit. And I feel
Hmm.
like it's one of those sports where like I watch it on TV and I'm like, oh, I can serve like that. And then I get out there and right into the net and I'm like, oh, I guess I can't. It's a
I
lot harder than
know.
it looks.
Yes, oh, absolutely. It definitely is. My sister picked it up as well after I did, and she was really good at it. And I was like, oh my gosh, how are you so good? And I'm trying so hard, and I'm just not, you know what I mean? We both picked
Yeah.
it up around the same time. I was just like, I just can't get it like you have it. So, but it
Yeah.
was fun while it lasted.
Some sports you really just have to. I mean, like year after year, continue to try to master it. I mean, they're so incredibly hard. Like I picked up golf last
Hmm.
year, or like over the summer. I'd never golfed before, and I really got into it and really enjoyed it. But I mean, I'm really not that good.
Yeah,
It's so hard. And
yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of sports that are like that, where you just
yeah,
like, I mean, it takes forever to master. And I
absolutely.
mean that's the kind of appreciation I have when I look at high level athletes, because they've
Hmm.
spent their whole life mastering their sport. I mean, the rest of us, like we like complain, like, yeah, geez, my golf game is awful. Of course, you golfed like 10 times over the summer. Like you don't shouldn't expect it to be that great. You're not putting that much
Exactly.
effort into it.
Absolutely. I think they're hobbies for a reason.
Right.
So you could just do it in your fun time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's better to have them as hobbies because that,
No.
help you relax and kind of go out and just play some leisure sports. Like I love playing basketball, but I can't
Mm,
stand playing with people who want to take it like way too seriously. It's like, hey, we're just playing some pickup basketball here. Like let's tone it down. I mean, like
same.
there's
Sometimes they're a little bit too heated for my liking.
yeah,
Absolutely. I agree
like
completely.
I lived in this one town for like a year after college, and I
Hmm.
got in with a group of guys that would play all the time. And a couple of them had played like community college basketball, so they were some, decent basketball players, and they
Hmm.
treated it just like they were still in, still playing at the community college. I mean, they were so aggressive, and I was almost afraid to shoot because I was like, if I miss, I'm gonna get a dirty look. Like I know what, and like. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
judged because these guys take it so seriously. I just want to play basketball, get a nice workout in, but like we've got this guy who wants to be LeBron James still over
Oh my
here, and
gosh. That's so funny. I do feel like playing just for fun as a Division 1 basketball player, people can be so brutal, like, and using that against you, like, oh, Miss D1, like, why'd you miss then, or whatever. It's just
oh
sometimes people
yeah,
are very brutal. It's like, what the heck? Like, I'm allowed to miss or to do something wrong sometimes, you know? I
right.
think that's funny.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's not like you. I feel like if you're just playing somebody for fun, you as a D1 athlete aren't gonna go ham on them. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you're just gonna
Yeah.
like take it
Yeah.
chill and
Sometimes people play so crazy too. It's like you're afraid they're gonna start to hurt you or like take it so
yeah,
seriously. It's gonna, they're gonna try and block your shot and like hurt you or something like that. You know,
right.
I don't know. I appreciate people's passion for it, but sometimes I think it's a little bit much.
Like I feel like they think they're like, oh, if I beat this D1 athlete, it means like I'm so good at basketball. It's like, oh no, no, because they're not
Yeah,
gonna take it that seriously. They're just playing for fun.
no,
Like, relax. No need to
exactly.
go crazy.
I know it's fun for us, and for them, it's like the championship of all championships. So,
Right.
but
Yeah. And I'm sure your coach wouldn't be happy if you were like, yeah, I got hurt because I was playing one-on-one with Susie over here. Just like,
exactly that nobody knows or whatever, and yeah, it's
right.
just that those are funny times. But yeah.
So in non-sports talk,
Hmm.
if somebody said you've got like an all paid for trip for 1 week anywhere in the world, kind of like a dream vacation, everything's paid for, where would you go?
Oh my gosh. First of all, a vacation sounds nice because with our season, it feels so long sometimes. It's like, where is a break? When can I get a little
Yeah.
vacation? Um, but I would probably say, I think that I have two answers. I'm going to go with my first one. I'm going to say Greece. I have always wanted to go to Greece. Um, I don't know for any specific, like, I've always kind of had that in my mind. I don't really know where it came about from. I would love to swim in the Mediterranean Sea. It looks so clear, and like my friends have gone on trips over there before, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. I would love to try some of the food over there, and just being overseas in general. That sounds like such an amazing time. I've gone to the Cayman Islands with my family before. That was an amazing trip, but that's as far as I've gone out of the country. So I would love to go to Greece, just kind of going over to Europe and checking that out. Um, that would be a great time. So I'll say Athens, Greece. That would be my dream vacation.
A lot of people say Greece, and I mean,
Yeah.
like I get the water looks pretty and stuff, but like I don't
Hmm.
know, it's not on my list. I don't even know if it cracks my top 10, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. That would be my number one, but my second one would probably be Hawaii. I've never been, and I think if I could do some like horseback riding or something on the beach, that would be a lot of fun because I've never rode a horse, but I think that they're beautiful, and that is like a bucket list thing for me. The only thing that makes me nervous is just like it. being with so many volcanoes. I know it's like such a stupid thing, but I'm like so afraid that I would just get completely stranded and like just my luck, there would be a volcano that was gonna like erupt while I'm on the island. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's just kind of where my mind goes. And but
Yeah.
I think that that would be beautiful. And I think also I saw a video before about the waves there that they are like massive. That would scare me a little bit too. But I think that other than like those are the little bit of negatives, but I think that it would be a great trip otherwise. That's why I say Greece. I think that Greece has a little bit more
Safer.
positives than that. Yeah, it's definitely safer. There's no volcanoes erupting in Greece, so I think it's safer for sure, but those are probably my two.
Yeah, Hawaii would be fun. I'd like to go there someday. I mean, if
Yeah.
somebody told me, "Hey, we'll pay for you to go to Greece," I wouldn't say like, "Oh no, I'd rather not." I mean, I
Yeah.
just wouldn't. It just wouldn't be like one of my top choices.
Yeah.
So
What's your top choice?
probably Italy.
Yeah.
Um,
Before it goes
yeah.
underwater.
I or Maldives. That I
Okay.
might I kind of waffle back and forth because the water and the beaches, like I don't
Yeah.
know, and Italy for no other reason than I mean it's nice weather, but also like the food. I mean I think that'd
Mm.
just be amazing to get like true, genuine Italian food, not like Olive Garden or whatever. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
I
Like
know. Yeah,
and see some of the old landmarks and
I know. I hope to be able to travel a lot, after playing college basketball and being able to travel a little bit more. And I would love to go to over to Europe and see a bunch of the different little places because I know everything is so close there, and you can, take a hour flight and be somewhere completely different. I think that that would be so much fun. So, I think just exploring so many different places would be a great time. Like you said, Italy for sure. I love pasta, just like you. So I think that that would be a great time. And I heard that the pasta there doesn't make you feel super like full and like heavy like pasta does here. So that would also be something intrigued by.
right, yeah, you go to Olive Garden and it says like 10,000 calories in this
I
one. Like,
know.
that's, oh no, that's a heart attack just having this
I
full
know.
pasta.
Literally. I need some
Uh,
like real pasta from Italy. That sounds great.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like not enough time in the world to travel everywhere I want to travel. You know, it's just there's so many amazing places around the
Yeah.
world, and
Yeah.
I'd love to go to all of them. Not enough money either.
Exactly. Yeah, that's also the other thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you for sure.
So why don't we, for the longest time, I was just ending the episode talking about music and like strictly music. But I was like,
Okay.
well, that could get kind of boring. Like every time we're talking about music and what if
Okay.
like three people in a row like the same music? So it's like the
Hmm.
same conversation. So then I opened it up to, okay, let's talk about music or movies. Whatever the guest wants to talk about. Are you more passionate
Okay.
about movies or music?
Okay. I I would love to talk about movies, but I am very passionate about music.
Okay.
So I'm probably gonna go along that route. So I'm sorry to
No,
keep
no, I'm
going with
get
how you've been
totally
going,
guest
but
choice. Totally guest
yeah,
choice.
um, I love music. I have just gotten into concerts a little bit recently. So that I will tell you is a whole new world. Um, Seeing music live is much different than just listening to it. Full volume. Um, I absolutely love concerts. I am hoping to. Post Malone is my favorite artist. I think that he has such a great vibe and his music is so amazing. I think I would say country is my like number one genre of music that I like to listen to. I listen to that very regularly. But I think Post Malone has such a nice vibe and such great music. I would love to see him. I'm hoping that I could see him when he's on tour next year. I would like literally pass away if I was able to go see him in person. I'm so serious. I that is like top highest point in my life if I were to see that. So I'm hoping that maybe I could do something like that next year. Um, like I said, concerts are a completely new thing for me, but they have been so amazing. So music is, I love music so much.
Yeah, I love music too. And that's why generally I lean towards talking about it because I just feel
Yeah,
like I mean like I hate silence. I've always got to have like if the TV's not on, it
yeah,
has to be music. I have to have music going on.
yeah.
Um and I'm the same like concerts. Sometimes it ruins the song for me like because I hear it sounds so great and then I
I
listen to
know.
it on Spotify and I'm like, just
I
doesn't grab
know.
me the same way.
Yes. I will say, on the line of movies, you have Star Wars stuff in the background by you.
I do.
That is like my favorite series for like movies. Star
Really?
Wars is my favorite. Yes, it is. So that's
Sweet.
very, very funny that you have that in the background. But
Yeah, I've got a like an old Star Wars line. You can't see it, but it's like on my
yeah.
desk here, like an old like the old rectangular lunch boxes. It's like a Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi lunchbox that
Oh
my
my
mom
gosh.
found at a garage sale or something that I just
Yeah.
love. But yeah, Star Wars is great. I can't do all the new ones though. I kind of they've kind of worn me out on that. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't mind when they did like The Force Awakens, those three. I was like, okay, these aren't bad, but like they keep pushing
Yeah.
the TV shows. I really haven't
Hmm.
gotten into them. I gotta stick with the originals and then the prequels.
Yes, I agree. I have not gotten into all the new stuff, but I have been to Disney and gone on the Disney ride with for Star Wars, and that I'll tell you is incredible. So if you're into Star Wars stuff, you definitely should check that out if you go to Disney. That was
Is it like a new ride?
really, I think so, yes. Um, it was so realistic. I felt like I was in the movie, and it was awesome. It was so cool. But I watched that movie series. I never know like the correct order to say it because I watched it with my parents. They said like the new and the old ones, and like I don't really understand them. But I watched the ones leading up to Darth Vader, like of baby Anakin and him
Yep.
getting,
The prequel series, yeah.
yes, the prequels. I watched those first, and then I watched like the first ones, I believe,
Yeah.
of like Luke and Leia and stuff like that. I watched it in that order, which I think was the best order. I watched a little bit of the Mandalorian stuff, but since then I haven't gotten into a whole lot because I think it just doesn't hit the same as the first, like as the original stuff. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, it's like they're just almost kind of like beating a dead horse. Like they're just it's
Yeah,
I don't know. It just doesn't give me
yeah,
the and I don't know. Some people argue probably all day and night about what's the proper order to watch it, but I feel like either way works. Like if you watch
yeah,
4 through 6 and then somebody's like, okay, now here's everything that happened before. Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine. But if you just like
yeah,
watch it in the order of the events, that's fine too.
yeah. I agree. I think that either way, it's just such like a great series of movies to watch. They're so long, which makes it so hard if you want to rewatch it.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that because they're so long, also it's great for like I haven't watched it in a little while, so when I'm watching it, it's almost new to me because they're
Yep.
so
Oh yeah.
long and you don't remember everything that happens, and so that I think is great. Um, yeah, I kind of am talking myself into watching it again now because now next week we'll have a little bit of a Thanksgiving break. Maybe I'll have a little bit of time to watch it. So I think that you're convincing me a little
Look at that. I haven't
bit.
seen him in a while too for the same reason. It's just hard to
Yeah,
find the time to sit down.
yeah.
I'd love to go to Disney. I went when I was like a little kid, and they didn't
Hmm.
have a lot of Star Wars stuff back then because Disney, I mean, obviously now they own them and they're putting out all the new movies. They had a few things, like I mean, I got my picture taken with a stormtrooper, and like they had a few things, but like I'm sure it's crazy now, and they keep building new parks. I think Disney would be awesome to go back to. I mean, like they're building
Yes.
a new park now. I can't remember
Yeah,
what
they
it
are.
is.
They are. I don't know the name of it either. I went this last this last summer. I went with my sister, boyfriend, the family, my family, and they have I think the ride is called Rise of the Resistance.
Oh yeah,
The Star
yeah,
Wars ride. That was incredible because they have you go on this like ship and it lands and then you walk out and see all these stormtroopers, which is like crazy. And then they have the big tall things and it's I won't spoil all of it for you, but it is really incredible. So if you were to ever go, that's definitely something you need to check out.
The light bulb just popped on. It's villains. The new park is going to be all about
Villains.
Disney villains, like from all the Disney villain movie. Like it's going to be
Oh my
their own
gosh.
little park.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is, I would love to check that out. I think Hollywood Studios is the one I'm talking about for Star Wars. But
Okay.
I would love to check out the villains
Yeah.
one. I'm sure that'll be packed once they open.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you'll have to like wait a year
They're always
after
packed.
opening, and well, yeah, they're always packed.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean,
Yeah.
there's certain times a year where it's busier, but I mean, you're always gonna have to wait in a line at Disney unless you get the express pass, which I don't know if it's worth the money or not.
I know. Is it really an express pass? I mean,
Right.
everybody buys it because they think it's faster, but it's not necessarily faster.
Right. Then you end up waiting in that
Yeah.
line, and maybe it's a little bit shorter, but you're still waiting in line.
Yeah. And I feel like every time I've gone, it's so hot there. And then they're like, oh, look at this fan thing. And you're never like cool enough.
Like
It's
a
just always
$20
so
fan
hot.
thing.
Yes, exactly.
Expensive too.
Exactly. It's just always so hot and all the lines are in the direct sunlight. It's always something
It
for
is.
sure.
It is. I mean, it's like training. You got to train for Disney. I mean,
That's what my dad always says when we go. He can't. Sometimes he's tapping out. He's like, I can't do this anymore. It's too
yeah,
hot. Yeah.
yeah, that is very true.
That's too funny.
Yeah. Well, Kate, I appreciate you hopping on the podcast. Enjoyed talking basketball and movies and music and vacations and all of it. Had a great
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate you for having me on. This was so much fun.
Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for more episodes soon.